Here's something that doesn't get said enough. The United States has never hosted a World Cup with a player like this. Not even close. Christian Pulisic is heading into 2026 at 27 years old. He plays for AC Milan. Since joining in 2023, he's accumulated 46 goal contributions in Serie A alone. More than Lautaro Martinez, more than Marcus Thuram, more than anyone in the league over that stretch. Back-to-back Serie A Team of the Season selections. That's not a good American player, that's an elite European attacker. But here's the thing that keeps pulling me back. None of that matters unless the system around him is built right. Because I've watched USMNT games where Pulisic was on the field and basically invisible. And I've watched games where he completely unlocked the entire attack. The difference wasn't his quality, it was the structure. So let's talk about what that structure actually looks like, and why 2026 isn't just an opportunity, it's a test this team might fail. The first problem is one nobody wants to say out loud. The United States, under pressure, panics in possession. When high-intensity pressing teams force USMNT into backward passes, the whole structure compresses, players bunch, space closes, and suddenly the team that looked comfortable is just hoofing it long and hoping. Pulisic is by far the most effective player on this roster at changing that equation. His progressive carry numbers, how often he advances the ball into the final third against organized defenses, put him in a completely different category from his national team teammates. He's not just a winger in this system, he's the pressure release valve, the guy you find when you need the ball to go somewhere dangerous fast. But here's where it gets complicated, and this is the part I kept coming back to. Watch AC Milan's best performances over the last 2 seasons. Really watch them. What Pulisic does with Theo Hernandez on that left side is genuinely sophisticated. Hernandez overlaps aggressively, dragging the defensive right back with him, and that's exactly when Pulisic cuts inside into the half space, the pocket between the right back and the center back. That's where he's lethal. The USMNT has Anthony Robinson on that left flank, elite attacking left back at Fulham. The overlap potential is genuinely there. But here's what I realized when I started breaking down the midfield angles. If McKennie and Adams don't support this with the right forward runs and positional coverage, Robinson and Pulisic just become isolated on the left with no passing options. The whole system collapses into one lane. Every decent defensive coordinator will see that coming from the first training session footage. This is solvable, but it requires intentional design, and that's not guaranteed. Now, this next part is where the real psychological tension lives. And I want to be honest, I've gone back and forth on this one. Pulisic has a hero ball tendency with the national team. There, it needed to be said. When USMNT gets stuck and the attack goes nowhere, Pulisic sometimes just takes it himself, holds the ball too long, forces dribbles, tries to manufacture something out of nothing because nobody else will. I understood that impulse for years. I defended it. But I looked at it more carefully and I changed my mind. Because when Pulisic goes into hero ball mode, the spacing collapses around him. Weah or Reina stop making runs because everyone knows the ball isn't coming. The team loses its shape. Then Pulisic loses the ball under pressure and suddenly, USMNT is defending a counterattack with 4 players out of position. The 2026 home crowd pressure is going to be enormous. 80,000 Americans who have been waiting 30 years for this. That's the exact environment where hero ball instincts get louder, and that's the trap. What this team needs from Pulisic isn't a savior, it's the sharpest blade in a functioning system. The tactical picture that actually works looks like this. Weah or Reina stretching the right side wide. Pulisic net pinned to the left touchline, but dropping into the half spaces, the zones between defensive lines that most wingers ignore. Short diagonal runs to the back post, late arrivals into the penalty area when the defense has already shifted to cover Robinson's overlap. I kept pausing the Milan footage at specific moments, because what Pulisic does in those half spaces isn't accidental. He reads the defensive shape before the ball is even played. That's not instinct, that's thousands of hours of tactical education. The question is whether Pochettino can recreate those conditions at the national team level with limited training time. Here's the honest verdict. The United States' fate in 2026 doesn't live in its defensive organization. It doesn't live in the goalkeeping. It lives in Pulisic's decision-making in transition. The 3 or 4 seconds when he receives the ball facing forward with space ahead and 2 options available. If he makes the right call, plays the simple pass, makes the intelligent run, trusts the structure, this team can hurt anyone, including the big ones. If he doesn't, this country is going to spend a very long, very loud summer watching its own expectations crush one of its best players. The home crowd will be deafening, the pressure will be real, and this is the moment Pulisic either becomes the player his club career says he already is, or he disappears into the noise. So, do you think he's ready for it? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one.